Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's April 29th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and I survived my trip. Long trip seems. On one hand, it seems like I've only been gone a few days. On the other hand, it seems like I've been gone forever. So it's been a little bit since we did a chart lesson. So we'll try to get back in the swing of that today. And it does look like we had a little bit of a sell-off, continued sell-off while I was gone. We got way into the oversold territory here on the daily chart before it rebounded. We had bounced off. It looks like we were bouncing off the midline, but we've closed through that slightly today. I would expect that we're going to make a retest of these highs before it's over. We will see if that happens or not. What looked like was going to be a range today, and then actually looked like it might be a sell-off turned into be the market rallied really strongly, kind of like it has done previous in the past. Every time it would try to sell off, it would suddenly rally strongly, and it's pretty much been my belief that because of the election year, they're not going to let this thing sell off. They will keep the market propped up one way or another unless something out of their control happens, which is very possible. Some more, it looks like Israel and Iran are at it now. To add to the issues Israel already had with Hamas and so forth. So we'll see. But there's war drums beating all over the world. There's crazy things going on. The economy is probably questionable at best. So there's a lot of things going on. And so we'll see what happens. But again, it's just my opinion, and doesn't mean it can't change or that it's going to end up this way. But I just don't think this market will have a huge correction before the election. Again, unless something happens that gets out of control that is out of their control, and like a war or some kind of terrorist attack or something. It would be something terrible. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But on that same note, I'm going to share something with you here. Normally I come back and, I'll have a string of emails as long as you can imagine in my inbox and try to read them. And most of it's good news. Occasionally somebody looking for something, they purchased something and couldn't download it or something while I was out. And of course I wasn't here to help them with it. And so they had to wait on it. But that's usually about the worst news you get. But I received a couple of emails here, and I went back and forth about whether I should even respond to this person. I almost just deleted their emails and blocked them. But and then I decided not to do that. I did respond to this person. I will not share that email with you. I'm not going to call any names or anything like that. But I think this is worth discussing here. I know I say every day. If I don't say it every day, I say it an awful lot. But never trade live until you've proven you can do it on the simulator. Don't go, what's my famous, most of you can probably say it before I even get it out of my mouth, but do not be a donor. Don't be a donator to the cause, because they need that to keep the money flowing. They need new donors every day, and new donors come in, and some people can control that, and they're smart, and a lot of people don't have a lot of money, but you would be surprised at the people that lose large sums of money. I mean, large sums of money. I've seen much larger sums than what I'm fixing to discuss with you here, but until you prove you can trade live, on the simulator, never trade live. And if you're losing, go right back to the simulator. Don't keep donating to the cause, because you can lose everything you own. And I'm going to read you these emails. It's sad that this person, I'm going to call him Trader X, but it's sad that Trader X's wife wants to blame me for the losses that obviously her husband's had here. But I'll read these emails. She sent me two emails. First one says, "Hey Mac, you suck for ruining our family and marriage. Trader X wife." And she doesn't say her name. She just gives me the trader's name, and she's actually responding to a string of old emails. He's maybe sent me 2 or 3 emails. Seems like Trader X was a nice guy. Sent me some emails discussing some of his problems earlier, then says he was doing better, and light went off here and he's doing better. But obviously, somewhere along the line, the light did not go off, or a different light went off. But then she goes on to send me this next email the next day. And I understand. I completely understand why this woman probably feels this way. But she needs to look within, and she needs to look at her husband, Trader X, because nobody twisted his arm. I mean, I didn't get this money. The money didn't come to me. I mean, I looked at my records. He's maybe spent $200 with me. So it's not like he sent the money to me. But it's just kind of frustrating to come in and read something like this, and I'm not reading it to you because I'm frustrated. I'm reading it to you as a warning, because I don't want anybody to ever tell anyone that I tried to convince them that to trade live and to trade with real money and to lose $100,000. That's ridiculous, because I do just the opposite. I'm probably the only person out there that tells you don't trade live until you prove you can do it on the simulator. And then start with the MES, because that way you can't lose a lot of money if you still lose, because there's still a stepping stone there of getting of going from fake money to real money, and you have to work through that. So start with start on the simulator when you're consistently profitable, meaning you make money every day and you hardly ever lose money. Then you can step up to the MES and start small and build from there. But don't go trading live into that. But here I'm going to read you the second email to kind of give you an idea of how serious this seems to be for this lady. She says, "Hey Mac, this is Trader X's wife. You can go to hell for the cult lies that have gotten my husband so addicted he has stolen over $100,000 from our accounts." And then she puts in parentheses here, "that I know of and just found out about so far. Much of it was to feed your greed machine." Now, where she gets my greed machine, I'm not really sure. Again, I sympathize with this lady. It says, "You won't even post your name, but be sure there are other wives and they are looking for you." And that's all she said. Never does she give me her name. I do have her husband's name. Again, we call him Trader X. But, my only response to that is, I don't know where you get, I mean, he didn't send the money to me. He didn't lose the money to me. So, you're complaining to the wrong person. And look, I get it. I mean, it's crazy that people lose this kind of money trading. But I can assure you, as most of you don't know, and if you haven't heard it before, you're hearing it today. And that's why I made sure I'm reading these and I'm sharing this with you, because I don't want anybody to ever say that Mac's greed machine caused them to lose $1,000 at that rate, which that's $100,000. And that's all she's found out about. But according to her, I've ruined her life, her marriage. I guess their marriage is not so good over this, but if you've got an addiction problem like that, and again, Trader X seems like a great guy. His emails to me were always friendly, always looking to learn, always looking to improve himself. And he even wrote me back when my brother-in-law, he died of COVID. They put him on the ventilator and he didn't make it and he passed away. And he sent me a nice condolence for that when I announced that publicly. And, he's a great guy, seems like, but obviously he has a gambling addiction of some type, or a trading addiction, or some kind of addiction to lose that kind of money. And to hide it, according to her, he stole it from her and hid it from her. And I can understand why he probably hid it from her. But that's not something you want to do to your family, to your wife. Don't ruin your life and your family over trading. It's not worth it. This is not for everybody. Some people can achieve this and some people can't. I've had people go 8 or 10 years and struggle, and then suddenly the light goes off, they figure it out, and they start making money. But don't ruin your whole life over it, because you may not ever get there. You might be like Trader X here, and you might lose everything you've got, and You know, I don't know how, you know, $100,000 is a lot of money no matter how wealthy you are. So, I mean, that could be everything. That could be their whole retirement savings. I don't know. I don't know these people. I don't, all I know is he came to me, bought a, I don't even think he bought a manual. He just joined the membership and he bought a second entry indicator. So, anyway, I didn't mean to get off on a long tangent on this, but I just want to make sure that people hear me, so I don't get accused of running a greed machine over here and taking everybody's money and forcing people to go, twisting people's arm to go trade live and lose money, because I've never, that's not me. That's not Mac at all. Um, in fact, I think I'm just the opposite. I tell you every day, do not trade live until you've proven you can do this on the simulator. Nobody ever listens. In fact, I talked about this 2 or 3 weeks back. I suggested to somebody to get on the simulator, and they just blew a fuse because I even mentioned it. They called it, you know, I can't believe you're using those newbie tactics on me. I'm not a newbie. I've been doing this for 10 years. Well, I don't care how long you've been doing it. If you're not making money, you've got problems. And you need to be on the simulator, not trading live. But people just will not listen. And so I'm reiterating it today because of these two. I mean, this was not something you want to come back from vacation and read. You know, I usually like to open up and see some success email. I get a lot of those. I always post them on the website. I've got a bunch that I hadn't had a chance to post on the in the forum that I'll be adding soon when I can ever find the time. Because there's just not enough hours in the day to do everything I do and to answer every email I get. So, but this one disappoints me. Again, I sympathize with this lady. I sympathize with this family. I feel for them. I hope they can reconcile their marriage. I hope it doesn't destroy their marriage. But I just want her. I hope he hears this maybe, or she hears this, or some of these other wives that are supposed to be looking for me hear this and understand that never ever would I encourage anything even close to this. If somebody contacts me and says they lost $1,000, what does Mac tell them? Get back on the simulator. I don't care how long, if you've been doing this 30 years, if you're losing money every day, get back on the simulator. That's where you learn for free without losing your life savings like this Trader X may have done here. And I hope this just a small amount of money that he's lost, that he hasn't lost their entire savings, retirement. I don't know how old they are. I know nothing about them other than, again, there's a little email string here that she wrote me from that, and this came from his email. So I don't know if, you know, maybe he got mad and did it, and, you know, I don't know why she would send it from his email. But she doesn't really, I guess she doesn't want me to know who she is because she never gave me her name. And she kind of said something about me for not even posting my name, which, you know, I don't know what she's talking about. So, do I put my public information out there? No. And I've explained many times why I don't do that, because of this right here. There's nuts out there. And there's people that have stalked my house and my family and they stalked my Facebook, they stalked my LinkedIn, they've stalked me all over, you know, they showed up at my door. When a guy showed up at my door and knocked on it and was trying to talk to my daughter, that was when the end came. And after that, I tried to hide everything about me publicly. And you can, so yes, but there's a reason for that. It's not because I'm ashamed of what I do. It's not because I'm a crook. It's not because of any of that. I do this because I enjoy it, and it's my way of trying to help people and give back. Never would I, in a million years, would I do this to cause somebody's family to have this kind of problem. So, and most of you that know me, that have been around a while, know that, I think. I'm probably speaking to a very small crowd here, and it's probably not even worth the time because most people that are listening, I think, probably do not believe that I would ever, you know, my greed machine. I'm not sure. I mean, I do this for peanuts. If I got paid by the, if I got paid by the hour for what I do here, most of you would laugh at me. You'd say, "Why in the world would you ever take time away from trading and waste your time with that for that kind of money?" You would literally laugh. So it's not like I'm getting filthy rich over here doing this. I do this because I enjoy it and it's my way of giving back. And I do know that I've changed some people's life positively. Now, to hear that I've changed this guy and his wife's life negative like this, does that bother me? Yes, it does. But at the same time, you have to look within. Where in the world would I ever tell anybody or encourage anybody to spend this kind of money or lose this kind of money trading? Because I tell you every day, do not be a donor. You need donors to keep this thing rolling forward. And so they love for new donors to come, especially guys that are willing to hand them $100,000. I've had guys tell me that came to me before they knew me, telling me they lost. I've had a guy tell me he lost $500,000 trying to trade, trying to learn how to trade. You can't afford. Look, if you've got $1 million there, you can afford to lose. You don't have enough money to learn to trade live. You still don't have enough money. You will lose that $1 million before you can blink an eye. You have to learn this on the simulator. So I'm saying this again. If you've never heard me say it, do not be a donor. Do not trade live until you've proven you can do it on the simulator. And even then, start in the MES. Used to the MES, you couldn't trade it. There wasn't enough volume, and I didn't recommend that. In fact, they had an early, smaller, I don't know if they called it the MES then, but there was another smaller account that was a fraction of the ES. And that's why they created the ES, to make it a fraction of the S&P, because the S&P was just so huge that the average trader couldn't afford to get into it. So they created the ES. But that's still kind of large. So they came up with a smaller market, but it never really caught on the first time. But the MES seems to have caught on. The volume's there. I think you can trade it just like the ES. So once you prove you can make money on the simulator, just switch over to the MES and start small, because you'll probably have a little bit of a curve there when you go from fake money to real money. So that'll help you kind of soften that step without having to go full in on the ES. And then once you've proven you can do it on the MES, the next step should be even easier. And again, just start small. You know, don't try to come in and trade 5 or 10 or 20 contracts. Start small with just singles or doubles or whatever. But don't be this person that I just read you about. And I mean, this is 20 minutes that we're into this, and really all I want to do was read the emails and just reiterate, don't do this, because I don't like receiving emails like this. I don't like people blaming me for it. You know, sometimes you have to look within, and nobody twisted this guy's arm. He didn't call me and say, hey, I lost 10,000, what do I do? And I say, shoot for 20 or 30 and on till you hit 100. No, never mentioned it to me. In fact, if I read through here, I think he says he's, you know, he's losing money on the ES. I mean, I'm sorry, on the simulator, because everybody knows that's what I'm going to tell them. Get your tail back over the simulator and make sure you're profitable there first. So yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't mean to drag this out, and it's just kind of disheartening to come back from vacation and read that right out of the gate. And I truly, not just because I hate to get an email like that, but I hate that happened to somebody. That's somebody's life, that it sounds like it not only broke them financially, it looks like it's, according to her, it's destroyed their marriage. So, I mean, he's going behind her back and taking money out of accounts and not telling her and getting it authorized by her. And that's wrong. Don't ever do that for trading or gambling, because if you're losing at money, it's just a gambling habit. It's all it is, because you're a gambler. If you're losing at trading and you're trading with real money, you're a gambler. And I've always said gamblers don't last in this business. You have to get to the point to where you're right most of the time. And that takes time, hard work, and some people can never get there because they don't have the personality for it. But anyway, let's move on to the chart lesson here. Again, I apologize for having to start off on a bad note, especially after coming back from vacation. But I think that needs to be said, because I don't like getting emails like that, and I want to reiterate that I would never and don't ever encourage anybody to do that. And it's not my greed machine because I didn't make a dime of that money. I wish that money would have gone to me. I'd give it back to them. That's simple. That's a here, sorry, you learned your lesson. Here's your money back and move on. Forget about trading. Go do something that you're more suited for, or I don't know. Anyway, let's move on here. Here's our chart. We already talked about the daily chart. We do have a break of the, let me get this down. This was a spike in channel, in my opinion. You can see we spiked up and went into this channel. And there's actually two channels. There's another channel working within. So, but we did get a break of both of them now. We have not made a new high. I would expect on a trend like this, we're going to retest the high, but we may not. It could turn down. Something terrible could happen. The news could continue to get worse, and this thing could sell off. The bottom could fall out of it. Who knows? But generally, we would expect a retest of this. So prices are probably going to keep creeping up. Maybe we'll make another new high here. We'll see. Time will tell. But there it is. And there's today. You can see it looks like we traded down and we closed up. So it's kind of a little reversal type day. It mostly looked like a range and then sold off and then recovered and closed higher. But let's flip over there to the 2,000 tick chart. Not a lot of trades today, but we'll go through it and we'll wrap this day up. Okay, here's our 2,000 tick chart. You can see we were in this range. Earlier I had this lower line a little bit higher because we bounced here. But the last one closed here. So I think that's the most consistent point right across there. And when we moved down, we pretty much moved to measure. We went a little further, but we closed right at a perfect measured move. And then we reversed out of there and got a little spiking channel up that it accelerated. So this actually looks like it accelerated into a two-tiered spiking channel. And you can see where we closed up here, and this is where we closed yesterday. So when we headed down here on this first move down, that would have been your target. And you see how it bounced a little early? What'll happen here is you'll get people that will start buying ahead of time, knowing that most times it's going to bounce off that. And they don't want to miss it because, see here, I didn't get there. If you waited, you'd probably missed it. Now, I don't encourage trading that way. Hear me. Let me say that again. I never encourage trading blindly. Wait till you get a signal bar, because sometimes it won't do that. The one time you try to sneak in early, it won't do what it usually does 90% of the time. Don't ask me why, but that's just the way trading is. So don't say that I said to buy that blindly, because I would never approve of that. But people do it because they don't want to miss it, and they get this little rally. And if you took it, it was a great trade today. You made some money, and you snuck in there early, and you didn't have to worry. And if you were like me and you wait like I tell you to, you missed out on that little rally. Well, actually, you still got a chance to enter it, and you still would have got most of the best part of the move anyway. So, do it the way I teach you to do it. Don't try to buy in blindly, because people send me an email every now and then and say, should I just buy blindly when it comes towards the trend line? No, wait till you get a setup. You got to get a setup. But anyway, let's zoom in here, go through the trades. You had to be patient, and there weren't a lot of trades. We had this little spike in channel. It's really still part of a range, but we broke out here. But still, you draw the trend line. You had a break and a few legs up, and anyway, you ran into a double, almost a triple top up here with a big bearish bar. Just go short right there. Look, you're looking for it just hopefully to come back to the EMA. Maybe you get lucky and it trends to the other side, which it did this time. And so this turns out to be a really good trade. If you took that, that's probably it's probably one of the better trades of the day. Especially if you took this, there's a reversal here or a failure. Technically, this is not a reversal failure because this is just a double top. So it's really just a first entry there. But it broke higher and failed and turned down. It's going to trap people. I like trading that on the engulfing bar. Just trying to get a scalp out of it. If it takes off and goes lower, go with it, which it does. And so this would have been really the trade of the day because you've got a runner on it. Actually, you still may have got stopped out of that. Depends on how you played it, whether you would have got a runner. So let me change that. But where does it bounce? It bounces down here near the lows. It bounces a little early. You get your break of the yellow channel. It tries to make a new low, and it doesn't. It just goes higher. So that's because it's a range day, and sometimes you don't make a new low. Most times you will. Even on, like in this case, you run up, you get a break, it still makes a new high. So it just depends. But anyway, you're running up. All you're getting is first entries here. You don't want to trade those. There is another little reversal here, but I think it's a little early because we didn't make a new low. But notice the low, and you could call that a first entry and then a second entry. So when it broke above, it broke lower first and failed. So it's going to trap people. It didn't really take off yet, and that's because it's not a really good reversal where you're looking for one. But when it broke lower again and failed and turned up, now you know you got people trapped, and you can see that it worked as a trap because it shoots straight up on the next two bars. I don't like that entry right there. It's not a high probability one, although it is a trap, but most people should stay away from that. I guess they should mark it green. But that's technically, this is just a double bottom. That's the first entry, second entry. So it's a trap. It's a failure. It's not a perfect place you'd like to see one, but it is a perfect trap because you can see that how it worked and it trapped people. And then these are all just first entries. And then you get your break, couple legs up to a new high, and it turns down right where it turned down before with a big bearish bar. I like going short there again, just to hopefully ride it back to the EMA, and maybe it goes further. Then you get a second entry short. I marked this one green. There's no trend line to come back to. This is the first break of this trend line. So you're expecting prices to at least make a new low, and there might be some other trend line over here. So maybe you take that one. It's a big bar. You can see, well, it's 11 ticks. That's not huge, but in comparison today, it's a fairly big bar. And it didn't. The real thing was it didn't break on the net lower on the next bar. It gives you an inside bar. So I think that's why I made that green. You would want it to break on this next bar really to make that a red bar. And then you do get a second entry right here. Notice, actually I take that back. This is the third entry. It's a first entry, second entry, third entry. And it's a lot of little sideways stuff. You can't really get a good trend channel working up there. I mean, there it maybe is, but that's your first break, so you got to be careful with that one. And again, it looks more congested than anything. So you'd hope for a lower high, and I think you've moved too far right there. You got to go short right into the lows. It would have worked, but that really looks congested. So just wait and see, and you get another second entry here, but the signal bar is no good. Then you could call that a lower high, but again, it looks congested, not a great signal bar. And then you get another lower high. So maybe you take that one. It's just a lot of sideways stuff. We haven't made a new low yet. We haven't touched, we haven't gotten anywhere near the previous low of the range. So maybe you take that trade. It turns out to be a good move, but it's not a great setup. But we do bounce down here. Again, if you don't have all this sideways, this doesn't look like rejection, so you can't really, and by the time it does break higher, it's an inside bar and it's bearish, so you can't really go long there. But here's where maybe you get a reversal, and you do get a first entry, second entry, but it's also a new high, first entry, and this broke lower first and turned up. That's a second entry long, a failed second entry short. I don't know that I wait till this closes and go long. But when it broke lower and failed and turned up, I like going long one tick above that bar right there. And if you traded it that way, turns out to be a nice move. Runs up till you get a break, and that's just a first entry, and then you get a second leg down to a new low. There is a second entry long here. Technically, it's not because this doesn't make a new high, so that's a first entry, second entry, third entry. It's not a good setup anyway. There is a higher low here, but you got to go long right into the EMA. If it would have closed above it, maybe you go long there. Here it gives you another reversal type, but it's not where you're looking for one. It's just not a very good setup. It would have worked, but I just don't like it. I think you got to skip it. And then of course you do make your new high, Then try to go higher once, twice, and it fails and turns down. If it breaks below that, just go with it. I marked it green because it's a failure. It's an advanced trade. It's not for everybody, so for that reason I marked it green. This is too congested. And then we have a failed breakout at the low. I would wait for a higher low here, which comes here. The signal bar is no good, but you get another higher low here. Actually, you get a failure here, and you're still way away from the EMA. So the odds are, if it breaks above that, it's at least going to the EMA, and it may go back after a failed breakout. It could go the other side of the range and go higher. So I like that entry right there. Turns out to be a good entry. Runs up. You never really get a close outside and a new high here. The bottom just falls out. I don't know what happened in here. Maybe there was some kind of news issue. It doesn't matter. Maybe we're just getting a second leg down like this first one. And we ended up getting a little more, got a little overdone here, as you can see, before it rallies out of there. But I don't think you can go short here. You could treat this like a failed breakout, but there's not much room here to those lows. So I think you want to wait on a lower high or something, and you just don't really get that. And there is a second entry here, but that's too congested. You're not back to the EMA either. But notice the measured move and everything closing inside of it. You get this nice reversal type bar. If it breaks above that, it's probably headed back to the EMA. And that's aggressive. You got to be real careful because you're trying to pick bottoms, but you do have your break and a new low, and you've been away from the EMA for a while. You got over a measured move. Based on the size of the legs, you got a perfect measured move, or at least on your closes of the width of the range. So there's some reasons to consider that if you want to be a little aggressive. And that turns out to be a nice trade. This probably was the trade of the day because you catch a runner and you could have ridden this all the way into 3 o'clock or whatever. There's another second entry here that confirms this trend line. Notice the new high, first entry, second entry. Now that is a little congested, but it's still 2 legs back to the EMA, back to the trend line, a decent signal bar, plenty of room to these highs here. So it's late in the day. I did mark it green. It is a little congested, so another reason I marked it green. But honestly, I like that trade right there. So there it is. Not a lot happening today. This is a long video, mostly because I spent 20 minutes talking about Trader X. And again, I apologize for spending 20 minutes on that, but I think it's important that I want people to hear me when I say, never trade live. Don't lose that. Don't lose your life savings. Don't lose any of your trading capital. Most people want to start with $3,000 to $5,000 of trading capital. You can't afford to lose that. So don't trade live until you've proven you can do it on the simulator. Then go to the MES and start small. And I did a test trade of the MES a couple of years back, a year or so back, and I showed you how I built a small MES account. I think I traded one time 30 days or something without a loss. So not everybody's going to be that good, but it just showed you. Basically, it showed you that just trading I think I was trading. I can't remember if I was trading 2 or 3 contracts, but it was real small, and I built a little account and just proved you could do it. I showed the results every day, and it's all still out there on the videos. Go watch it. And so you're not going to get rich, but you're not going to get rich trading, period. I try to tell people this is not a get rich quick scheme, but you can get rich over time if you get good at this. But it's like anything. It's like, okay, I'm going to become a doctor. I go to school for 8 to 15 years, depending on whether I specialize in something. I don't make any money. I'm probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. But I know coming down the road, I'm going to start making a salary. And then I open my own practice, or I go into a practice with another skilled doctor who's outgrown his practice and needs help. And the next thing you know, I'm making a good salary. I'm paying down my student loans. 4 or 5 years later, I got all my student loans paid off. I could open my own office now. I could go to work for a hospital. I could do this or that. I'm making good money and I'm starting to build. And in a few years, I'm probably going to be wealthy. Trading is just like that. You don't just start. It's a pipe dream to think you can just start trading and be rich. And the one that gets me more than anything, that people, when they come to me and they say, I'm just looking to subsidize my income a little bit. I just want to make a few $100s a day. Look, if you can make a few $100s a day, you can make a few $1,000s a day. It's not easy to do. You got to work towards. This is not a part-time job for somebody stuck at home, which is what people come in thinking. They think I'm just going to trade a little part-time, make me a little money on the side and subsidize my income, and I'm going to be better off. Well, no, you're probably going to lose that money if you do that, because it's going to take you longer than you think it is. Have realistic expectations. Don't be a donor. So anyway, I've said enough about all that. This is a super long video for no more trades than we had today. I'm going to wrap it up. Again, I apologize for the long-winded stuff with all that, but I think it needs to be said. I want to make sure that I don't want to ever get another email like that again, so I'm making sure that I'm just reiterating what I think I already say every day, is don't do that. Don't be like Trader X. Trade the simulator only until you've proven you can make money every day. Then go to the MES. No, you're not going to get rich, but you'd be surprised. You can build you a nice little trading account out of a few. You can take $1,500 and turn it into a few thousand before you know it. Then you got a nice little trading account to go to the ES, and you've also worked off some of some of those demons that get in your head when you go with real money, and you've done it much cheaper than you would in the ES. So the main thing is you didn't lose your trading capital or maybe your life savings or in your marriage or your family. That's the thing you don't want to do. And then you can build from there. It's doable. Can everybody do it, and will everybody do it? No. Not everybody's going to be successful at this. But most people, it's the same reason not everybody's going to be a medical doctor. Some people don't have the skill set for it. Some people aren't smart enough. In fact, it's not really the smarts, because I think the smarter you are, the harder this is, because you're smart and you use your common sense, and that works against you in trading. We've talked about that before. I don't know where it's out there in the videos. I've talked about it many times, but go back and watch some of the old videos, and you can hear me talk about that. I'm not going to get into that today because we're already way too long here. But start small and build and have realistic expectations, and this can be done. But just like not everybody can be a medical doctor, not everybody's going to be a trader. Doesn't mean you can't try, but don't ruin your life over it. Do it on the simulator. Prove it there. And if you can't ever do there, why would you ever trade live? If you can't make money on the simulator, why would you ever go live? And I'll hear people say, well, I can do it on the simulator, but I can't do it live. Well, if you can't do it live, you need to be back on the simulator. There's still something you haven't worked out. Doesn't mean you're a newbie. Doesn't mean you're too good for it. That's what just tears me up. People think that they're too good to be on the simulator. I'm too good for that. No. That's an insult for you to even mention that to me. No, you're not too good to be on the simulator. If I start having a stretch where I'm doing bad, I'm going to the simulator tomorrow. Because I know I'm not too good to ever go to the simulator. People have a misconception of what the simulator is there for. It's not for newbies and beginners. It's for anybody that's struggling and can't make money. Because where else can you learn with live data without the worry of losing money? It's like if you want to be a medical doctor, being able to operate on live bodies without killing them. Where else could you get better experience than that? So go trade the simulator, because it's just like it's trading live data. It's like having a live body, but you don't have to worry about killing them if you're trying to be a surgeon. It's the best of both worlds. So I think I've beat this one to death. I won't mention it again. Hopefully I'll never get another email like that. That's not why I do this. I do this because I like the other emails, the successful emails, And thank God I get a lot more of those. I mean, this is the first time I've ever got one of these. And like I said, I have had people come to me and say, "Hey, I want to learn to trade. I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I lost $500,000. Can you help me?" And all I can say is, "Hey, I can show you. I can give you the roadmap and show you how to do it, and give you the right tools, but you still have to do it yourself." And can they? Will those people turn it around? It's hard to say. But I never want to get another email like that again. So, thus this video. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again and do it tomorrow. I'm glad to be back. We'll get back in the saddle here. I'll get caught up here. Just be patient with the email. I've said this a bunch, and people just keep sending me emails asking me trading questions. At some point, it's already to that point. We've got the forum. Go into the forum and ask the questions there. I'm thinking about working out some new deal with the forum. If you have a current membership, you have free access to the forum. Costs you nothing. If you don't have a membership, you can join the forum for $10 a month. $10 a month to learn, to ask questions, any questions you want. And people there that can answer those questions, even if I don't answer. There's qualified people in there that can answer those questions. And I mean, if you can't spend, and the only reason I charge $10 a month is not because Max Greed Machine has got hundreds of thousands of people paying $10 a month. It's because I want to keep out the troublemakers and the tire kickers and the people that just come in for free and wreak havoc. That's the right reason I charge $10 a month. And if you can't afford $10 a month, you can't afford to trade. Go find another profession. So at some point, you're either going to have to join the forum and ask your questions there, or I'm just going to have to say, "I'm sorry, I cannot answer your emails anymore," because it's not because I don't want to. I enjoy that part of this. I just don't have the time. I have to have a life as well as, I still trade. I make my money trading, not teaching. I don't make any money doing this. Yeah, I get a few dollars here and there, but it's not enough for the lifestyle I want to live. So I still have to trade. And I want to do my own trading. And then when I'm not trading, I want to have some time to myself to do my own things. And the amount of emails I get every day almost makes that impossible. And they're all the same questions over and over and over that you could go read, and you don't even probably have to ask them because they've already been answered 100 times in the forum. Just go to the forum. Risk the $10 a month. Ask your questions until you feel like you've learned, and you can quit anytime. There's no commitment. You can join. 90 days, you spent $30. In a whole year, it costs you $120. If you're going to do it for a year, you might as well join the membership, because then you get to watch the videos, the video lessons. You get everything. You can download the files, the free tools we offer. So if you're going to do it for a year, just go join the membership. And then you got a whole year's of it for $100. It's not like we're breaking the bank to get you in there. So again, I keep saying I'm done. I'm gonna wrap this up, and I just keep yakking. So I guess after being gone for 2 weeks, I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to feel like I want to talk my head off or something. So anyway, I'm wrapping it up. I'm done. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Hope you've had some good luck and some good success while I've been gone. Hope you've learned something. But we'll start back with our usual chart lesson each day, Monday through Thursday, and mid-morning report come out around 9:30, 10. And we'll push forward, and we'll put this today behind us and these emails behind us. And if you're the praying type, pray for that gentleman, pray for his family, because they certainly need it, it sounds like. Don't risk your marriage and your life and your family over a gambling addiction, because that's all that is. If you're losing that kind of money, it's a gambling addiction. So don't do that to yourself. Don't do it to your family. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.